This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Bloodstain has been delayed again. Saints Row the Third is coming to the Nintendo Switch. A 24-year-old game that was supposed to have originally been released for the Sega Genesis is finally gonna see the light of day. We have a release date for Shenmue 3, and Red Dead Redemption 2's world is massive. All of these stories and so many more on episode number 85 of the Analog Circle podcast. I'm your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and as I always say, welcome to the podcast. Man, oh man, I messed that all up, but it's all good. Tried to put some auto tunes in there, but it didn't work, brother. Anyway, anywho, man, as we always do every week, I have to get into the feedback section first. And my goodness, this week, Mr. Cody Clark, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. This email has to be the most massive email I have ever received from Cody Clark. And I'm gonna put a doggone, what do you call it? When people say they're gonna put, something out there, I forget what you call it. But I'm gonna let you guys know, I'm gonna give you guys a warning. That's it. This episode is gonna be a little longer than usual because quite a bit of news came out this week. So usually I try to keep the show to about an hour or so. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go way past that mark this week. So, without further ado, man, let me jump into this email. Cody Clark, you had a lot on your mind this week, brother. So let's get into it. Now, wait a minute. I have to do this properly. Okay, hold on a second. Now, listeners out there, if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want to have your voice, that's right, your voice, god dog it, be heard, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in on the hotline, brother. It's 443-216-9934, or you can leave an email like Mr. Cody Clark did at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Do your thing and get familiar, brother. Now let's get into Mr. Cody Clark's. This email is epic. So here we go. Now the title of his email is On Movies, Studios, and Cutting Off the Hand That Feeds You. Now here it is. He says, oh man, here we go. Video game movies. Do we need movies about the old West? It was a horrid time. Do we need movies about books? We can read books. Do we need movies about talking acromorphic vegetables that teach the world of a 2,000-year-old book? Not really. Do we need all balls? His actual name is, Iwi Bowl. I hope I said that right, Cody. Iwi Bowl ruining movies like Blood Rain, Far Cry, etc. And whatever else horrid things he has made. No! Or the Resident Evil movies after the first one, or the Mario Brothers movie, or Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. Need is a strong word. Remember comic book movies like back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That horrid Cap America movie, or the Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. Heck, before Star Wars, the sci-fi movie scene was pretty bleak. Man, let me tell you something on a side note, Cody, that Punisher movie was the worst. But let's get back into his email. He continues on and says, okay, I've read that part. Now let me continue. He says, before Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Sure, a comic book inspired movie that failed, but it had a heavy video game feel. It was just too soon, but it blew the pants off of Ready Player One as far as soul and feelings go. What we need is directors who get video games and producers who let them make art. Not Adam Sandler and the criminals behind Pixels. Oh, buddy, shots are fired. Boom, boom, boom. He continues on to say, it is going to be the same hard lesson the DC and Universal had to deal with. We don't want your cookie cutter garbage, giant spider, most powerful twist stuff. We want some good, fun movies. Now he continues on to talk about BioWare. He says, on BioWare, do I think EA will keep them up and about? Ha! No! EA will be more than happy to cut and gut a studio. They have done it time and time again. To EA, BioWare is just a name. Mythic took over all MMO stuff when they were taken up by EA. First Dark Age, then they added on The Sims Online before it was shut down, and then Ultima, and we also had Run, but never really got to use it, of Wing Commander. Wait a minute, did I read that right, Cody? I hope I did, brother. Yeah, I'm gonna continue on. He says there is no quote unquote keep them in the back pocket, pull out when we need it, end of quote. With EA, you either make money in a specific threshold or you don't. That's it. Case in point, Simpsons tapped out, still bringing in a sizable amount of cash. So that studio is left to its own devices. It's about making money to make the investors happy. Having a studio fail, but say, quote unquote, we will learn and do better next time, end of quote, does not make stock prices go up. Cutting costs, and saying you will refocus on newer and current trends and strategy, that makes investors all hot and bothered and makes them want to throw money at EA. So that is what will happen. On Doing Good and Doing Well. That's the name of his next one. Man, Cody, I'm sweating, brother. This is a lot, brother. But we gonna continue. He says, I would disagree that numbers show how well a studio is doing. One of the best things to show is the stock price and their total value. When I left EA, they were trading at $17 a share. That was in September 2012. God dang, I wish I had jumped on that back then, Cody. He continues to say, now EA is trading at $130 a share. He says, Sony sold off their TV and computer scenes. They also got rid of their micro components. Sony also sold off a ton of their patents, mostly to Samsung. Sony is not close to their old 150s in the PlayStation 2 era. What are they? Let's see. $54 a share. That is the best they have ever been since 1998 to 2007, respectively. Apple is at 200. Microsoft is at 109. Microsoft is a super complex ecosystem. If you look at their curve, they just keep punching up and up and up. Microsoft tries things and fails. Sony is selling their VR, the best-selling VR system, for lower and lower prices. Nobody talks about wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get it together, y'all. I'm all messed up here. Okay. Sony is selling their VR, the best-selling VR system, for lower and lower prices. Nobody talks about how must-play VR is. Sony doesn't even talk about Vita right now. They are smoke and mirrors. Sure, they are killing the total number sold for systems, and they can brag about selling. What? How many total games? If we say 500 million units, that means each PlayStation 4 player has paid for 7 games. That is a pretty bad attach rate. So, God dog, Cody, you did the math on that, brother? Holy smoke. He continues to say, so it depends on how you look at the information. The numbers sound amazing, but when you step back, it's not that impressive. I don't know where they are spending their money. The PSN was super bad in PS3 days. The PSN user base is 80 million, which is the approximate number of PlayStation 4 units sold. Xbox has stated a total user pool of 59 million users, which is telling that people on their 360 still use Xbox Live, since that is supposedly more users than total Xbox One sold. So there is a lot of stuff in the background. If Microsoft ever decided to drop Xbox, it wouldn't even hurt them. It's part of them, but it's not all they are. If Sony stopped the PlayStation, they would dissolve and get gobbled up by Samsung and stuff, because nothing else they are doing can keep them afloat. They have either sold it off or sold it off. At least that is my 2 cents. He continues to say, holy cow, I didn't intend this to be super long. You just had some amazing topics that got my brain spinning. Drive safe, have a good trip, and a good rest of your week. Holy cow, Cody Clark, brother. Whoo, man. You had a lot to say, my man. You had a whole lot to say. I know I butchered some of the email, brother. I know I did, man. I know I did. I'm trying to read it off my phone. My eyes getting bad, brother. I'm almost 40, man. My eyes starting to kind of, have a little twinkle in it where I just can't see as well with some things. But Cody, man, brother, I don't even know how to decipher this right now, brother. I want to say, the thing that stood out to me about this email was, I do like the fact, and this is something, listeners, I want you guys to listen to. Cody covered so many different topics in this email. Usually the question that I ask every week, it's just to get a conversation going. But any points that are ever brought out on the podcast, I want you guys to be able to chime in and, give your points and give your opinion. Like he talked about, the thing that I really liked about this email, Cody, I mean, you said a lot of stuff, but I gotta narrow it down to, something, because there was a lot in there. But I did like the point about the numbers actually not really telling the total story about how well a company is doing. You have to go to the stock prices. And I gotta tell you, man, I would have never thought of that. But that is the truth. That is how you can tell how well a company is thriving. And my goodness, $17 a share in EA back then. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you got some of them shares, brother. Man, that's something I'm trying to get into. But, Cody, as always, brother, man, you said a lot here, brother. And just due to the length of the show, I'm trying to keep it an hour, but I knew it was going to be impossible. But, Cody, man, I greatly appreciate you, brother. Thank you for sending in your most epic email to date, brother. And believe you me, this one is going to go down in the books, in the Analog Circle books, as the longest email that has ever been sent. I don't know if anybody can top this, brother. But, Cody, as always, like I said, thank you, brother, for the email. I truly do appreciate it. Now, guys, Oh my goodness. This week, Gamescom happened. Some things happened at Gamescom. I didn't really look at Gamescom this year. I was working. And when I tried to look at it, it was cutting off on me because I was in a bad area. Couldn't really get a lot of information about Gamescom. But we're going to go over some things though. But before we go over the news, brothers and sisters, before we go over it, I want to let you guys know what I've been into. Let me tell you something, brother. I just picked up Infamous Second Son, man. Oh, buddy. This was a game that I wanted back when the PlayStation 4 came out. I just never got around to getting it. And I looked on the PlayStation Store last night, and what did I say, buddy? What did I say? I saw a doggone Infamous Second Son for like $8. $8. I said, you know what, man? I gotta pick it up. I need this, pal. I gotta get it. So I went on and picked it up, and I started playing it this morning. I'm recording this on August 23rd at exactly 10:13 a.m., which is the time right now. And I was playing it roughly about an hour or so ago. And I gotta tell you, man, I heard some bad things about Infamous Second Son. Some people were saying it wasn't that great, wasn't that good. It was one of the worst in the Infamous series. I gotta tell you, man, I'm only about, give or take an hour or so in, but the game has been great for me. I've enjoyed it. Graphically, this game was made back in 2014. Well, it came out in 2014, and this game still holds up very, very, very well. Now, I know you guys are probably like, Dad, Kiaun, it's only 4 years ago. I mean, come on. But my point is, in that 4-year time period, usually this is the time when people start really topping out the consoles, and the graphics are just so much better, at this point in a console's life cycle. But 4 years ago, this game was made, and it still looks stunning. The story is very interesting. I really, like I said, I'm only an hour in, but I really like the direction that they're going in. No spoilers here in case you haven't played it like myself, but I will say that the story does seem like it's going to be a bit of a conflict between, with the main character and how the world sees him. It's going to be interesting. At least that's what I'm hoping. But outside of that, haven't really been into too much more. God of War is still a game that I'm playing. I know you guys are like, hey, when are you gonna finish? I mean, New Game Plus is out for the game and everything, I know, but I haven't finished it yet. But the game just continues to get better and better and better and better. It's an amazing game, and I really feel like it's gonna come down to that game and Red Dead Redemption 2 for Game of the Year. Mark it on your calendar. One of those two games is gonna win. Now you guys probably say, man, that's a no-brainer, Kiaun, but some people think Spider-Man could win Game of the Year. You must be crazy. Oh, you gotta be crazy. Anyway, man, let's go ahead. I've rambled on too long, people. We already over 18 minutes in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the gaming news that went down this week. Now let's start it off with a little bit of bad news. Oh, this is a little bad. Oh, man. And it's kind of a double whammy to be quite honest. Now, if you were looking forward to Bloodstain, to get a bit of your Castlevania fix, then unfortunately you will be waiting a bit longer. Director Koji Igarashi had this to say, and I quote, "We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience or disappointment, but rest assured we are working harder than ever to deliver the game we all made happen together. Please bear with us for a little longer, and I thank you for your continued support." End of the quote. So, in short, the game has been delayed until 2019. Now, the other unfortunate part of this is the PlayStation Vita version has been canceled, but you can get a refund or request a different version. Now, he was saying that, I believe they had put a demo out sometime earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember. I haven't really been following the game that heavy. But basically he said they wanted to push it back because due to bad feedback from that demo, they felt like they needed to raise the quality. So hopefully them taking out this extra time, it'll definitely make the doggone product that much better. I hope you make it more potent, buddy. Do your thing and take your time, Koji. Think it's gonna come out great. Moving on to the next story. Now, if you're on the edge of your seat, I mean, if you're just waiting, you can't wait to get into it. If you're on the edge of your seat for Shadows Die Twice, which is the latest game being directed by Mr. Man, why do I even write these brothers' names down? Why do I even write these people's names down, man? His name is, Hidetaka Miyazaki. I do know his last name, Miyazaki. Yeah. Who comes from the lineage of such titles as Dark Souls and Bloodborne. And, then you won't have to wait for that title too much longer. You know, what did I just say? I don't know. Basically, the game is coming out, Shadows Die Twice. It's gonna be released on March 22nd, 2019. Now, it was also announced that there will be a collector's edition, which will come with a physical map, replica game coin, a 7-inch Shinobi statue, a steel bookcase, and an art book. So for any of you guys that have been looking forward to this game, you don't have to wait much longer. Yeah, you do. Man, what's that guy doggone? Like 7 months away? Man, that's a long time, man. Yeah, just hold on, brother. It's coming out soon. I gotta tell you, I saw this game and, I'm not into the Dark Souls games. I don't play games for anger. I don't play games for frustration. I play games for fun. I will say that forever. It's supposed to be fun, and I'm not playing it for anything else other than that. It ain't like I get a real life doggone trophy for putting myself through a whole lot of misery. No, I want to play the game for fun. And Dark Souls and all those kind of games, Bloodborne, man, you can keep them mother lovers. I don't need them. But this game, I got to say, as I looked at the footage, man, it reminded me of one of my favorite games back in the day, Tenchu. For anybody that is familiar with Tenchu back on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, man, that game was hard. Oh, it was good. It was so dope. I loved that game. And this game puts me right back into that same kind of atmosphere where you were jumping up on the roofs, having to jump down and assassinate people. I'm actually looking forward to this one. This may be a game that I give a try. I'm sure it's going to be hard as a mother, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. We'll see what happens. But, let's move on. Now let's get into some Hitman news. Oh yeah, buddy. Now if you are buying Hitman 2, but you already own the first one, you will get those 6 locations from the previous game for free as part of the Legacy Pack. Now what exactly makes this so cool, right? Is IO Interactive said they are going to enhance and remaster these locations by having bigger crowds, new gameplay items, new game modes, and a new progression system, as well as a picture-in-picture mode. So for any of you Hitman guys or gals out there that really like this franchise, then this is a nice nod, man. They're actually taking your old content and infusing it with some new content. Oh, you can't get any better than that. I salute you people. Do your thing, man. Now moving on. This is a quick news story. Now, this was very, very interesting, actually. It's about this game that actually started life on the Sega Genesis. And it was supposed to have been released 24 years ago by a Swedish developer that you know as a little studio called DICE. Oh yes, who the world knew DICE was in the gaming industry 24 years ago, man? I had no idea. This was a game they were behind. Now, the game was very close to being released, but due to the shift of a new generation of consoles coming up, the game was scraped. It was scrapped. It was over. Now, I'm sure by now, you're like, well, what the heck game was it? What game is it? Well, the name of the title was called Hardcore. That's the name of it. Now, the game is a run and gun style. I must say, by the way, I never heard of this joint. Okay, I gotta be completely, truthful. I don't know what this game is, okay? Never heard of it. But it was called Hardcore. Maybe some of you guys out there in my age bracket could tell me about this game. But anyway, the game is a run and gun style. Well, the good news is, if you have been waiting for this game, I don't know who was waiting for this game for over 20 years, but somebody I'm sure was. It is finally going to be released on the PlayStation 4 and the doggone Vita in 2019. Now, the founder of DICE, Mr. Frederick, said this, and I quote, I know the game, I know the care, love, sweat and hard work that went into creating Hardcore in the first place by all involved parties. Thus, I think it is fantastic that this product finally gets to see the light of day and for people to be able to play it finally. End of quote. So, for any of you guys that are looking forward to this, go ahead and check it out on the tube. Go ahead and check it out on the good old YouTube. Check it out. And hopefully it's something you guys are looking forward to. I gotta say it kind of looks cool. I just might pick it up and I just might not. But we'll see what happens. But moving on from this story into the next. Now let's talk about one of my most anticipated games this year, man. Oh my goodness, my brow was sweating. Oh, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, this, more specifically, is, if you own an Xbox One. Some more information has come out about this title. Now, programming director, Mr. Frederick, Robichaud, I think I got that right, Robichaud, has said you will have two options for Tomb Raider. You can opt to play it in high frame mode at, 1080p, 60 frames per second, or you can choose to play it in high resolution mode in 4K at 30 frames per second. Now, this is the thing, man. This is the thing that really tripped me out about this story, pal. Okay. Now, I remember when the Xbox One X was being rumored and talked about and the specs and everybody was saying it's no way that a $500 console, they were like, it's going to have to be $800. And I hate to bring up old stuff because this is very old at this point, but I like to just revisit things just so people can maybe be a little more skeptical, be like, I don't know, maybe it can, maybe it won't. But people said it's no way it's going to be able to do 4K. It's impossible. I have a $12 million PC that can't even do 4K. Okay. Well, this is the thing. Digital Foundry, and Digital Foundry, those jokers that dig up all kinds of bones and all kinds of skeletons out your closet to really reveal who you really are. Well, they did a little analysis, and that's what they do over there. They actually said that Tomb Raider is running at a native 4K, 30 frames per second. It is native 4K. So many people didn't think this would happen. They said it'll never happen on a AAA title. This is AAA. I mean, it might be the B team, but nonetheless, the game is AAA. So I say this to say that, this is excellent. This is only something that us console gamers have heard about from the PC side. You PC mother lovers, man, y'all a piece of work, some of y'all, man. Y'all a piece of work. But anyway, I digress from that. My whole point is, this is great to have the option. If you want the frames, if you want the performance, you can get the 1080p 60 frames, or if you want to get that lush, vivid kind of color and have that pop on your 4K TV or your 4K monitor, you can always opt to have the option to have the 4K pop it out. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, well, what about the PlayStation 4 Pro? That should be able to do it too. Well, I'm sure it's going to get some enhancements. Okay, they were only speaking about the Xbox One X version at this moment, but I am pretty sure that you guys will be getting the 4K treatment. Maybe not native 4K, but who the heck cares, man? I'm just saying that I get tired of hearing people say, stuff is not going to be what it's going to be. Just hating on Microsoft. I just feel so much hate. That Microsoft gets. It's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, man, moving on from that story. I can't wait for Tomb Raider. I think it's going to be freaking luxurious. Moving on. Now, oh boy, man, oh man, I need a drink. Oh, now, guys, I actually just found out some very interesting and, in my opinion, shocking news. Now, this right here, this blew my freaking socks completely off my foot. All right, now, it's actually about my most anticipated game, maybe for this generation, I must say. And that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, this story actually comes from Tyler Fisher from PlayStation Access. Now, it is being reported and actually confirmed that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be the biggest world that the AAA studio has ever created. I'm sorry, I just hiccuped in your ear. I apologize, listener. But it's gonna be the biggest world that Rockstar has ever created, spanning a quote-unquote 500 miles long. On top of that, now, this is another amazing thing, man. On top of that, it was another amazing detail about the game that was talked about. Now, when you kill enemies, their body won't just disappear off the ground like they usually do in games, right? Because, you shoot somebody, pow, 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 pow. They go on the ground. You see their body for 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden you turn back around like, oh, where did he go? That joker then just disintegrated into the ground. It's like, oh, well, he's definitely dead. He buried himself. He was dead so much. This time, they're saying that the body will remain in the same spot, and this is the biggest catch. This is the biggest takeaway. The body will decompose until some animal comes along and eats the remains of the body. Man, I have never ever seen this kind of detail in a game before. Well, I haven't seen it, but I have never heard such detail. Usually, because I know that they were saying, Rockstar, you pick a deer up, you put him on the back of your horse, and you're galloping, and you keep him on the horse too long. Eventually, he's gonna decompose, he's gonna start rotting, and, it's gonna start attracting animals to want to doggone eat him. The thing was, I thought that was it. I said, man, that's amazing enough. Looking at the decomposed body, you start seeing flesh dropping off and whatnot. And then they say this gonna be the same thing with the people. You shoot somebody and let's say you just walk away. Okay, you get on Seabiscuit and you just gallop back up the road, and all of a sudden you got another mission and you gotta go back down the path or around where you just came from, and all of a sudden you see the same guy laying there, but this time his ankle got gnawed off. Okay, I mean maybe a a bear. Well, bears don't really eat meat, I don't think. At least not brown bears. I think black bears do. But anyway, I mean, a tiger, some kind of animal that's just hungry, man, goes up there, bites off half his leg. I mean, this is insanity, man. I can't wait for Red Dead Redemption 2. And then the fact, this is the most mind-blowing part. Well, I don't know if it's the most mind-blowing part, but it is the most amazing part. Same thing. I just said the same thing. Anyway, the thing about it is, man, the world. How big the world is, man. 500 miles. 500 miles. You're gonna be on the horse, doggone galloping through, and man, I mean, good grief, imagine how long it's gonna take to get from point A to point B. I know Rockstar is gonna have a fast travel system in the game, but you think about Grand Theft Auto 5. GTA 5 was massive, and you had a doggone cars that could go 80, 90 miles an hour to get you the way you need to go. You're gonna be on horseback, getting it. And just thinking about a world that's that massive, how many things you're going to be able to do, how many sights you're going to be able to see. I mean, I cannot imagine being able to have that much free reign on a doggone map. 500 miles worth. This is going to be absolutely stunning. I have Red Dead Redemption 2. I really think that the review score, and we're about 2 months out, I'm going to say Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to get, I'm going to say a 95. I'm not going to give it a 100. I'm going to say a 95, though. I think it's going to get that. I know that's mighty high, and that's a lot of pressure. But I think that Rockstar can pull it off. 95. That's exactly what it's going to get, in my opinion. But I have talked about this a whole lot, so I think I better move on. But good gosh, man, it's going to be amazing. Now, moving on, man, into some actually very good news about PlayStation. Some really good news. The PlayStation VR has sold over 3 million units since it released back in 2016. That is actually, I mean, when you figure you have a 80 million player base out there, 80 million PlayStation 4s out there, and you only have 3 million that are attached, that is actually kind of bad, but they are the market leader right now. And, it looks like, that's what does that average out to? About a 1.5 million a year, somewhere around in there that they've sold since they came out. And they've dropped the price again. So, big congratulations to Sony for, having a, I mean, they seem to be happy with it. So I'll say successful, VR peripheral. And just on a side note, I know that I'm about to say Ring Kings, fight nights have been very scarce. They haven't been out in forever. All we have is UFC. Well, it looks like there is going to be a Creed boxing game that's going to be coming out for the PlayStation VR sometime later on this month. I didn't have that in the notes, but I just remembered. So if you want your boxing fix to get off, man, go ahead and look for Creed. It actually looks kind of cool, man. It looks kind of good. So be on the lookout for that. But congratulations to Sony for the 3 million units sold. Now, let's get into some Halo news. Oh, yeah. A little bit of Halo, baby. Now, this isn't, an insane news, story. This isn't anything groundbreaking or earth-shattering, and I'm sure some of you guys might have even known about this, but I didn't know. I was a little slow on the upswing on this one. But, it's actually some news about, what is it? Halo Infinite. Okay. Is it Halo Infinite? Yeah. Well, basically, some people were wondering Well, what is this? Is this a sequel? Is it a prequel? I mean, is it an offshoot? What exactly is the game? Well, and they were also trying to figure out where does it fit in the timeline. Well, we got a definitive answer from 343's Jeff Easterling, who said, and I quote, "It's Halo 6. You should just consider it Halo 6. Don't think of it as a weird prequel kind of thing. It's the next story. It's the next chapter in what is going on." End of quote. So there you have it. There you have it. It's Halo 6. They're coming back with a brand new engine. Looks like it's gonna be some animals out there, man, and some foliage or whatever. I'm looking forward to it, but it's not much more to say about this. Just know it's Halo 6. Anyway, moving on. Another quick news story. Overwatch will be free to play from August 23rd to the 27th on Xbox One, PC, and PlayStation 4. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and have a gander at it. It's free. Heck, it doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah. Moving on. Now, if you were looking forward to the upcoming Spyro remastered trilogy, it has been delayed from September 21st to November 13th for, quote unquote, more love and care. I was never a Spyro fan. I played it back on the PlayStation. Think I got it with a demo disc back in the day, and it just didn't really do it for me. I was like, man, he's blowing out fire. Purple dinosaur kind of might be related to Barney or something like that. That's pretty cool. But it really didn't really do it for me too much. But I know that some people actually loved Spyro back in the day, so you just gotta wait a little bit longer. November 13th will be here before you know it. The beautiful part about it is, it's plenty of different games to play, between that time, because we're about to kick off. September 7th is going to be an epic day. September 14th is going to be an amazing day. And it's just going to keep on going and going and going, baby. Moving on from there. Now, we finally have more info on Shenmue 3. Ha, dag you, Suzuki. Man. Now, the publisher of the game, Deep Silver, which, well, I'll get into that in a minute. Deep Silver has come out to reveal that the release date is going to be August 27th, 2019. Yeah, you know that wasn't happening this year. Oh, you son of a gun. August 27th, 2019, which would, put the game at a 4-year dev cycle, actually, because, it was revealed back at Sony's joint in 15. So you figure 19, that's 4 years. That's about right for, a AAA, cycle. Sometimes you can turn it around a little sooner, depending on how big your staff is, but that's about par the course for something like this. So hopefully the game will definitely live up to the hype that so many people have been excited for this game and just holding their head and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And Shenmue 1 and 2 have come out, the remasters. Yikes. Okay. Yikes. Man, those games have not aged very well. Don't get me wrong. The aesthetic of the game is still cool, but gameplay, oh, yikes. Macaroni. Not good, man. But, hopefully, Yu Suzuki, he'll bring it into the 21st century. Well, I shouldn't say 21st century of gaming, but, the 2019 age of, gaming that we're used to, right now. So we'll see what happens. But the interesting thing about this is that it's being, published by Deep Silver. Now, Deep Silver usually brings their games out on every single platform. So I'm wondering, it still hasn't been any word on if it's an exclusive for PlayStation, because basically Yu Suzuki just used their stage to announce it. But that made me think maybe this will be coming to Xbox day and date. You never know with the PlayStation 4 version. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that is definitely a huge possibility. But moving on from there. Now, this is for you PC mother lovers. I love y'all, man. I do. The ones of y'all that don't act like, a-holes, man. Y'all are dope. But for PC game players, NVIDIA has announced their latest graphics card and the prices. God dog, these mother-loving prices. Now, the 2070 will start at $499, and the RX 2080 will start at $699. Good gosh. And the RTX, I should have said RTX, I meant RTX 2080 Ti will start at $999. Now, the higher end cards will ship September 20th, with the lower end cards shipping in October. Now, also the cool thing about this was too, and I'm not really tech savvy like that, but the cards are going to be using GDDR6 RAM. So that's a next generation of RAM, I'm sure, because it was DDR5 for a little bit. So it's going to be 6. The biggest takeaway of this was the ray tracing. And I did a little bit of research on what ray tracing is. It's basically just how light reflects off of objects. And I know they had that Star Wars demo a couple of months back where they were in the elevator and they were showing like the different lights bouncing off of their helmet and their breastplate, of their suit. And it looked great, man. I mean, it looks really awesome. The guy over at NVIDIA is saying it's the biggest leap in graphic technology in like not 20 years, but I think since like the PlayStation 3 era, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but he said it's the biggest leap that we've had in quite some time. Man, these prices though, God, dog. Y'all talk about console gamers, man. Jeez, me Christmas. Who is going out buying $1,000 graphics card, man? I mean, $500. I understand that the technology is far superior to console, but good gosh. I mean, I don't have a problem with the 500, but with that price, you got to make sure you got the, the proper, processor and all of the inner parts. You got to make sure that your power converter is putting out enough volts and all. I mean, it's just so intricate where once you get the card, it's still not the end of the journey. I guess that's the takeaway. You still got other things you have to invest into it to make sure that it'll run well. Anyway, hopefully this ray tracing thing is going to be amazing, and maybe the consoles, next generation consoles, will get some kind of some kind of hand-me-down of it or whatever. Anyway, moving on. Ace Combat 7 is going to be released on January 18th, 2019. Now, the thing I find cool about this is the game will have flight stick support. It will be compatible with the T-Flight HOTAS that was made by Thrustmaster, for Xbox One and PS4, or you can use the HOTAS flight stick made by Hori. So for anybody out there that are into the flight combat, kind of games, Ace Combat 7, January 18th, be on the lookout for it, buddy. And I gotta say, just thinking about Thrustmaster, I still have not opened up that wheel, that TSXW, driving wheel, man. That thing is still in the box, man. I gotta take that thing out, man. I'm trying to get the play seat and all of that stuff. I really want to get the whole doggone, experience of it, man. So, that's kind of why I'm holding off. The play seat, I've seen that for as cheap as like $300, maybe $400, and that way I could mount it onto it. It would be like I'm actually playing a real sim racer. So I'm going to try to get the 3 monitors and all of that stuff, but that's just going to take some time, man. But anyway, let me get away from that. That's just boring details. Moving on now. I'm sure you guys know this story right here. Oh my gosh. Now, Oh man, I'm gonna wipe my face off of this one, brother. Oh my gosh. Alright, now I got doggone know. You guys have to know who Supermassive Games are, man. If you don't know, they are the studio behind, in my opinion, notice I said my opinion, one of the best horror games this generation, which was Until Dawn. If you haven't checked out Until Dawn, do yourself a favor. Matter of fact, oh my goodness, speaking of Until Dawn, that game is on sale right now on PlayStation for $6. $6. That game is well worth that price of admission. You might have to give them some money back. That game was so amazing. I have never been that scared or nervous while playing a game. Maybe it was because it was at night and I had on my Turtle Beach headphones. Maybe that's what did it. But nonetheless, that game was fantastic. Never been that scared in a game before. But anyway, let me quit drooling over that. But, they are back. Oh my goodness, Supermassive is back. And this time it looks like they are returning back to form with a new title called The Dark Pictures Anthology. Now this title has been picked up by Bandai Namco, which means it will be a multi-plat. It's going to go multi-plat. Now, hold on. Yeah, it's going to be coming to both PC and Xbox One, as well as PlayStation 4. We know that. But anyway, more on that in a little bit. Now, this will be a series of standalone games. I guess kind of like episodic. That's kind of how they made it seem. And they were saying the first episode up is Man of Medan, where players will switch between a cast of 4 tourists where their summer cruise will turn into a fight for survival aboard a haunted World War II era ship. Now, just like in Until Dawn classic fashion, there will be choices that need to be made. Various paths can be taken along with varying endings. Now, all of the characters' lives are at risk. Let me say this, man. Now, for you guys that only own an Xbox One and don't really want to get a PlayStation 4, which I would highly recommend, if you have the means to get a PlayStation 4, good gosh, and you really into this gaming culture, you're about that gamer life, man, you need the PlayStation 4. It is utterly stunning. But if you just don't have the funds, and I've been there, buddy, this is a chance to get that Until Dawn feeling. Because I looked at the latest trailer. Man, it looks just like Until Dawn. They were on the ship. The ship is haunted. They scared. They're nervous. They're trying to find things. It looks like the guy that played Iceman is in this game. Whoever his character is, I don't know if it's him or not, but one of the characters looked just like that dude, man. Good gosh. Same guy that was in Quantum Break. Man, the game just looks like Until Dawn, brother. And I'm telling you, Supermassive, they have had some not so good fortune. I think they came out with, what was it, Bravo Team or something like that, the VR game that was on PlayStation. They came out with the Rush of Blood that was a spinoff of Until Dawn. That was, I guess it was okay for a VR experience. They also came out with the Impatient. That didn't go over too well. So they've had some hiccups along the way since Until Dawn released. But it looks like they're going back to what works for them. And I am so excited for this title. I cannot wait. They said that it's coming out next year. I would highly recommend looking this up on YouTube. Good gosh, I can't wait. When I saw it, I was just blown away. I'm like, this is amazing. This is absolutely great. So for those guys, Supermassive, man, that's going to be a day one buy for me. It's going to be episodic. I believe they said they're going to make an episode I think it's every quarter, every 3 months, something like that, or maybe every 2 months. I mean, which is that's a long time to have to wait in between episodes. But the way that they described it, it seems like every game is going to be standalone. So it's not going to have anything to do with the previous episode. So we'll see how this turns out. Telltale Games, man, you might have some competition on your hands, brother, if they gonna go with this format long term. But I have to say once again, season 3 of The Walking Dead, that first episode, holy cow. What a huge turnaround for Telltale Games. The game looks absolutely great. But anyway, I'm going off on a side tangent. Let me just move on to the next story. All right. Now into some Nintendo news. Now I know Diablo 3 is coming to the Switch, and that's cool. I mean, that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Game is great. But a new announcement has just been made that I thought was very interesting and really not expected. I mean, this was so unexpected. Revealed via a tweet, Deep Silver said, and I quote, Deep Silver at it again, man. They say, we're happy to announce that at Saints Row the 3rd is coming to hashtag Nintendo Switch. More info to be revealed in due course. Hashtag Gamescom. Man, oh man. Nintendo continues to get the M-rated games, baby. They keep getting the M-rated mature games on the platform. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, brother. Oh, man. Now, I was never a Saints Row fan. Saints Row 1, I said, man, this is nothing but a wannabe GTA clone. Saints Row 2, I said, you're still GTAing out here in these gaming streets. I don't respect it. But when they came out with Saints Row 3, or the 3rd, the actual name, man, I was so blown away. Such a fun, riveting time. I mean, taking the bat that was made of this, I ain't gonna say that. Y'all know the purple bat. Y'all know what it was, brother. I'm gonna try to watch my mouth. Little young kids listen to this sometime. Yeah, man, the game was absolutely dope. I loved it. And for it to be coming out to the Nintendo Switch, being able to play Saints Row the 3rd on the go, I think that would be awesome. Is it enough to make me open the Switch? Man, I don't know yet, but, nonetheless, this is dope. My only thing about the Switch right now is, I wish that they would just get newer games. I understand that the hardware is limited, but man, I'm gonna tell you, Bethesda is out here doing it. I mean, they're bringing their Doom games over, their Wolfenstein games over, and these are current generation games that they're bringing to the system. So hopefully, somebody out there will say, you know what, well, let's just try to bring some up-to-date games to the platform. And I also was thinking, if Saints Row the 3rd could make it to the Switch, I started thinking, what if, good grief, let's just imagine for a minute. Let's just play imagination like the Muppet Babies back in the day. Y'all might not get that reference, but let's just imagine that Rockstar, said, you know what, since they're doing it, we're gonna put GTA 5 up on the joint. Bam! That's it. GTA 5 on the go. Good grief. I know the system can handle it because the Switch is supposed to be quote unquote just a little bit more powerful than the 360 and the PlayStation 3. So it has enough juice to do it. Anyway, I'm rambling way too much about this, but I thought this was pretty dope, man. Moving on, and we are not gonna make it before the hour mark. God dog. But, anyway, next story. Now, One of my most, and I do mean this, man. God dog, this was really cool to see. One of my most beloved games, dating back to 1992, is being re-released for its 25th anniversary. Anybody know what game I'm talking about? If you don't know, man, it's FlashBack. Oh my gosh. Now you may be wondering, what new features will it offer? Well, it will have a rewind feature. It's going to have a tutorial, remastered music and sounds, and you will be able to play the game either as the original game experience or a modern mode, which will include post-effects graphic filters. Now, the game will be released both digitally and physically on October 25th, October 25th, and it's going to be coming out for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, you guys may be saying, well, Kiaun, hold on. Didn't FlashBack come out before, like a remake or something, back in 2013 sometime? Yeah, it did. It was an Xbox Live Arcade game. Yeah. We don't really want to talk about that, brother. But nonetheless, it did come out. But the thing that I like about this is it is the original game. They're updating it, putting in the extra features, and that game, my gosh, man. I mean, nowadays, cinematics are just, that's normal. You know, you get a cutscene and it is what it is. I mean, that's normal part of course now in modern day gaming. But back in 1992, it was a studio, and I've talked about them, I'm sure, several million times on here. That's how much of an impact they had on me, as far as my gaming life. Dolphin Software. They were so ahead of the curve. These were the same guys that were behind Out of This World. That they had made a remake for that as well. That's on the PlayStation and the Xbox. Out of This World. Well, at least the Xbox, I know it is. PlayStation, I'm not 100% sure. But that studio was absolutely amazing. I had never seen cinematics like this. It was really like you were playing a movie. So when FlashBack came out, I remember playing it on the Sega Genesis. I had rented the game from Blockbuster Video, and I got it home, and holy cow, man, just an amazing game. If you guys could just look up Dolphin Software, they were absolutely fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this. I have to pick this up. Hopefully you guys will do the same. And, yeah, it's not much more to say about that. Just took me back to a great place in my gaming life when I saw this. But, moving on, and we're about to, this is almost over. We're getting down to the end. This next story, oh gosh, now, I have to say this, man. This next story, please take this with a mustard seed. Okay? A mustard seed of truth. All right. Now, an alleged leak came out at Gamescom about this service that was going to be called Xbox All Access. Now, you know, they didn't really talk about it. You know, people were excited about it. Like, what is this? What is it going to be? We don't know. Now, you know, some more alleged news has come out about this service. Now, once again, as it stands right now, this is just a rumor. Now, this service that they were talking about, Xbox All Access, this service would offer 2 tiers of pricing. Now, the first one would be for $22 a month. You would get a Xbox One S console. You would get Xbox Live, as well, Xbox Live multiplayer gaming service, along with Xbox Game Pass, which is like, wow. Now, the next tier is for $35 a month, you could get the Xbox One X with those same services, with Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass, excuse me. Now, a person, this is the catch. Now, a person, if you were to get into this program, you would have to stay under this contract for 2 years. And if you do the math, at $35 a month for 2 years, that averages out to $840. Now, if you actually went to the $22 tier, that would actually average out to, for 2 years, $528. Which, I mean, God dog, if it's to be believed that you're getting Xbox Live. See, now this is the thing, the wording. Which is why I kind of got jumbled up on my word. Well, I've been jumbled up this whole episode on my words, but nonetheless, they were careful about the wording. They didn't say Xbox Live Gold. They said Xbox Live Multiplayer Gaming Service, which to me, I would think that would be Xbox Live Gold. But then you think about it, if they're giving you Game Pass to go along with it, you might not get all of the perks of Xbox Live Gold, getting the free games every month. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. But anyway, this could possibly be a thing. I think this would be an absolute excellent model. They could be the first to do this. I mean, the only thing that I can think that's close to this was the Sega Channel back in the 90s, when you could pay a certain amount a month and you had access to, I forgot how many games. I never got it here in Baltimore, but a place called Glen Burnie that's right outside of Baltimore, here in Maryland, they actually had the service, cause my nephew had it, and he'd be like, man, I got Sega Channel. I'm like, man, what the heck is that? Never heard of it. And, he was telling me about it. But anyway, I think this would be great to get a lot of people in. $35 a month for 2 years, $840. It's a good way to get an Xbox One X. If you don't have the 500, well, I'm sure it'll drop down to 4 soon, to actually be able to, pay for it. I think this would be even better if they implemented it into their new console. But, as it stands right now, this is just hearsay. It's not official. No word from Microsoft. They did not want to comment on this article, but we know Gamescom is still going on, so we'll see what happens in the future. This would be dope, though. Man, oh man. But anyway, moving on to the last story. Now, this is a quick one. Nintendo won July NPDs. God, dog. Now, this is Nintendo's 7th time being number one since they released back in March of 2017. Nintendo is on an absolute tear right now. They are doing their thing. Xbox had a run of about 3 months as far as being number one. And they came out way before the Nintendo Switch. So my hat goes off to Nintendo, man. They doing a lot of right things, man. Congratulations to them. You know what? Which is gonna end the news section of the podcast. That's gonna end that. That is it for this week's gaming news. But as always, brother, I definitely want to ask you guys a question just to wrap this up. Speaking of Nintendo, do you think that Nintendo can outsell the Xbox One? Because the way that they are running, man, last time I think they were at 20 million. They've won NPDs again. I really don't know, man. The only thing that I think could keep Nintendo away from actually beating Microsoft would be if the generation ended, like soon, like real soon. But I don't know. That's my question this week. Can Nintendo outsell, Microsoft, Xbox One? Anyway, as always, you can leave your comments at 443-216-9934 if you want to leave a voicemail, or you can leave an email like Mr. Cody Clark at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Guys, this was a long episode. I enjoyed doing it. It was fantastic to be able to talk to you guys. I greatly appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much for it. Really means everything to me. And with that being said, I have talked long enough. But before we go, always remember, guys, it is not about the consoles. It's about the games. All about the games, baby. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.